Hello there, everybody. It's your old pal Cape Joel back again for another video, but a different type of video, one that might need a little bit of explaining. Whether you knew it or not, I've actually worked on comic book YouTube for about 5 or 6 years, give or take. There's a couple years that are a little hazy in there. And one question that I get nonstop, regardless of where my videos are being put up, regardless of what outfit I'm working for at the time, the thing that always gets asked to me time and time again is, Joel, when are you going to cover more indie comics? And the answer I always give is slightly depressing, and that is, I would love to cover more indie comics. I like indie comics, I read indie comics, but the problem is, doing this job that I do on YouTube, I kind of got to worry about the bottom line, and the sad truth is DC and Marvel, capes and cowls, spandex, they pay my bills and they will always do better than even the most critically acclaimed indie comic. But you know what? I thought now is the time. Now I should really give it a chance. I should try and put it out there to the universe, put it out there to the internet and see, that if a show like this is doable in 2017. And I think I picked a perfect time to do this because two comics have come across my desk right now that are really special to me and something that I really wanted to, kind of signal boost and kind of wanted to get it out there to the world at large. And hey, in an effort to be completely transparent, yes, it also helps that the creators of these two books we're going to be covering today, yeah, I would consider them friends, and yes, I have worked with them on other stuff. The first one up we have is Jupiter Jet, which is brought to us by the husband and wife team of Jason Inman and Ashley Robinson, who you will probably know from their work over on DC All Access. Jason, of course, has guested with me on several other podcasts. I met him at New York Comic Con. Good dude, nice guy, and hey, Ashley, I didn't even know this about her until I started researching this. She's a comic editor in her own right, and a fellow Canadian. Go Canada, eh? Their comic is Jupiter Jet, a real labor of love. They've been working on this one for a long time. They had a very successful crowdfunding Kickstarter program to get this going, and if you were a Kickstarter, you got this one early. You got a bunch of different little perks there. There's about a dozen really excellent variant covers by a lot of really great artists out there. I personally enjoy the Tim Seeley variant because I'm a fan of Tim Seeley. Of course I would enjoy it. But what is Jupiter Jet about? Well, it is a young person superhero story starting as a mini with the option to make more if it's popular. We follow the adventures of Jackie Johnson. Again, hey, keeping it with the alliterations, keeping it with the Peter Parkers and the Wally Wests of the world. She is a young girl in Olympic City, a place that, is very reminiscent of steampunk fiction. There's a little Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow in there. There's a little Legend of Korra, a little Steam Boy, a lot of The Rocketeer, if you couldn't tell. That was a huge influence on this one because it's this neo-1940s where, we didn't really crack the atom and everything is powered by steam, and there's like zoot-suited gangsters and old school cars and old school fashions, and even their slang is kind of old school. It's very interesting. This first issue is an origin story, but it's an origin story written by people who clearly read a lot of comics and are fed up with the traditional pacing of an origin story. They do kind of the Indiana Jones thing, the media res thing, where as soon as you open the book, boom, you're in an action scene. You're getting to see Jupiter Jet do her thing. And, she's a very interesting type of hero. Usually when it comes to young people heroes, they follow a very black and white code of morals and ethics. Jupiter is different because as we join her, she is actually robbing a bunch of criminals. She's less Spider-Man and more Robin Hood. Now, she's not doing it because, hey, she just wants to get rich off it. No, she's doing it to keep her family business afloat and also to support kind of her area and her neighborhood that has been hit by, rough economic times. And this is so early in her career, too, as a hero. She hasn't even earned the name Jupiter Jet yet. They're kind of doing that CW thing where they call her the soaring sweetheart in the paper. She hasn't even gotten a traditional superhero name yet. She's working up to that. We get to learn a fair amount about Jupiter's family. Her father passed away or disappeared under mysterious circumstances, as is so often the case in these stories. She's got, like, you know, a smart, tech-savvy brother living with her uncle in a repair shop. And when she brought that money back, she brought back more than some money. She brought back an interesting little crystal-looking thing that might be more than just a crystal. It might actually be some sort of crazy, experimental, endless power source. And when you have a hero who utilizes technology, who has a jetpack, that would, you know, behoove them to have an endless supply of energy. Of course, you know, this brings her into conflict with the mysterious villain, who also has a connection to the power source, and perhaps even has a connection to Jackie's father's death, and you can pretty much tell where it's going from there. Ben Matsuda is the artist on this one, and it really pops. It's a really good-looking indie book. It's got a very unique art style. It's very striking. It would be hard to mistake this for something else, and I think that's, you know, really something it's got going for it. Another thing it's got going for us, and something that I can tell there was a real effort put into it by Jason and Ashley, and that is, this is very much an all-ages book. You know, all-ages appeal is something I feel has kind of been lost in comics recently. There's the books that skew super young, or there's the one that skew to, you know, people like me who have been reading comics all their life. It's nice to have a book like this that I would feel comfortable giving it to my younger cousins, which has often been a problem for me, because, you know, my younger cousins, they know I work in comic books, and they're like, oh, Joel, what should I read? You know, what from your collection can I grab? No, that's the Killing Joke. That's Southern Bastards. Don't read that. I don't want to have to explain any of that. This is a book that I would feel very comfortable giving to kids. I think it meets their reading level, but also, you know, doesn't talk down to them in any way, and I think that's, you know, very unique and very cool. So yeah, I mean, that's basically Jupiter Jet in a nutshell. For those who are interested, this book will actually be hitting stores. It will be in stores in Canada and the United States very soon. Actually, I think the week that I'm recording this video and putting it up, it's coming out. I'll be sure to link down in the description, and of course, you know, if you want to talk to Jason, I'll put his Twitter down there too. He would know better than me. Overall, I liked it. I think it shows a lot of potential. I'm interested to see where it's going to go from here. Now, from that very sweet, very child-friendly comic book, we go to the other polar opposite completely with the second book we're going to be talking about on this inaugural episode of My Eye on Indie, and it's called Alien Toilet Monsters from Carol Zara. Who's Carol Zara? Well, she's a fixture of the Canadian comic book community. She does Fan Expo just about every year. She has a very popular Twitter and Facebook feed. In fact, as I record this video, this is actually the second time I recorded this video. I did it once before and I lost the audio, and I'm doing it again now. This book in that time has actually managed to grow a bit of a following. There's actually quite a lot of other YouTubers talking about this one. It's got a pretty strong presence, and I think I can understand why, because despite what you might think with a title like Alien Toilet Monsters, and oh wait, actually here, I have my physical copy right here. Whatever you might think by looking at this cover of Alien Toilet Monsters, I'm going to tell you right now, you're wrong. This book completely blindsided my expectations and gave me a read that I was not expecting in the best way possible. The conceit of the book is that we're in the future, not that far in the future. It's the year 2028, I think, and alternate realities have been discovered. We basically have Rick and Morty portal tech now, only instead of enriching our lives and enriching our culture and making everything better, it's made everything 100 times worse, and we kind of get what is an anthology story, but not a traditional anthology story, built around all these, like, weird outcast people in this dive bar and how this crazy world, you know, affects them personally. And, you know, we kind of have a bunch of intersecting stories. If I had to compare it to anything, Alien Toilet Monsters, I got a very, like, you know, Ralph Bakshi Spicy City vibe, if anyone remembers that show. It was on for, like, a season. Stylistically, it reminds me a lot of that, because that was an anthology, and that one also, you know, was kind of gross and kind of risky and everything, and it also talked about, you know, like, weird future stuff. Another big influence I got off this one was heavy metal. Obviously, the movie, of course, that everyone has seen, but especially Heavy Metal Magazine, which I don't know how many people know that the movie was actually based on, like, a comic periodical magazine, but yeah, that's definitely one. The main story involves the bartender who, he's kind of a tragic character. He's lost his wife, but he's hoping, hey, with all these multiple universes and all these multiple realities out there, maybe I can find a woman who's just like her. And, you know, wouldn't that be grand, not seeing all the myriad of problems that could possibly come with that. There's also a woman who's, you know, really, who's plugged into her VR technology there, and she's getting all bent out of shape because they're apparently adapting a franchise that she likes into a live-action movie, and she doesn't know if it's going to be good or not. And we get to see like a bunch of scrolling like Twitter form text on the page, and it is, I will say this, it is shockingly, almost painfully accurate in how it portrays how people write on the internet. I was really taken aback by that in the best way possible. Another crazy thing about this book, and another way that it kind of blows my mind in a way I was not expecting, Carol herself, the writer, that's her on the cover. She's in the book too, in a way that I was not expecting her to show up. And if you think it's like really self-indulgent for a comic creator to write themselves in their own book, yeah, it is, and that's kind of the point. And to say anything more would kind of spoil it. I would just say check it out, because it's genuinely really surprising how she chose to write herself into the book. Another thing about this one that I appreciated is that it's mostly a self-contained story. When it's over, it says the end of book 1, not the end of issue 1, end of book 1, which means, you know, we might revisit this universe and we might revisit these characters and scenarios again. I will say it definitely felt like a complete experience. I can't remember the last time I've read something so wonderfully weird and underground and out there and gross and messed up. And like, I'm like, oh, I enjoy this. I see why this is getting some groundswell. I see why people are getting into this one, because it's unlike anything else on the comic shelf right now. But yeah, that's Alien Toilet Monsters. That's my second kind of indie book I'm recommending right now. 2 glowing reviews for each of these, a book for every person there. Just another perfect example of what's going on in indie comics right now and how you can truly have it your way if you want something dark, messed up, and adult, or you want something that's, you know, more acceptable for all ages. And, you know, I wish both these books and both the creators the very best. Again, if you're interested in any of the books we talked about here on My Eye on Indie Comics, I will be putting links down in the description so you can check those out. I'm sure the creators would be very appreciative if you did. We gotta support this indie comics thing, or it might not make it, everyone. Support all forms of indie comics. And with that, everyone, I will bring this show to a close. I hope you enjoyed it. I kind of experimented with the format on this one. I know it might be stuff that you're not used to. I'm doing this picture-in-picture thing. I hope it works out, and if it does, and if you like it, I hope to be back again to, you know, do a second episode of this. And I guess that'll be your mission in the comment section down below after you've liked and shared, hopefully. You can tell me what indie comics would you like to see me talk about on the show next. I would hopefully be able to do that, especially if it's something that hasn't been too ongoing. Like if it's a new thing that just started that I can hop in on, that would be even better. So yeah, with that, everyone, this has been Cape Joel, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.